All right. Hello and welcome to the PMC podcast, where PMC stands for Project Management Conversations. My guest today is Johanna Rothman. Johanna, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Is it Johanna or is it Johanna?
As long as you put the H in, I don't care if you say Johanna or Johanna. As long as there's an H in there, I'm very happy.
Awesome, awesome. So she is an author, consultant, speaker. Some millennials and Gen Zers might refer to her as an influencer in the world of project management. She comes with extensive experience in the field of leadership, management, and agile. And agile is what interests us the most here at PMC since we are all about project management. So we wanted to talk to Johanna about collaborative teamwork and its importance in agile. But before that, if you could introduce yourself, Johanna, your career and experience so far.
So I won't go back to the very beginning, but
Mhm.
I did start off as a software developer. I then became a project manager. I went back to being a software developer. I was a program manager. No, I was a manager. I was a tester. I was a program manager. I have had what I think of as a very typical career where I moved between many kinds of possibilities.
So good.
And the one through line was that I was always doing something with projects.
Awesome. Awesome. That's so good. Yeah. Projects is the lifeline between all the different job roles that you spoke of. Now, I have to ask you when we talk about this specific topic that we have today, and that is about the word that you used, agile superpower. So, what exactly makes collaboration a powerful agile superpower in project management?
So, especially when you want a more agile approach to anything, collaboration among the team members allows you to reduce the WIP, right? The work in progress.
Mhm.
And the more you can reduce the WIP, the faster the throughput.
Right.
Now, if you still have plenty of stuff coming in over the transom, you're not you're going to feel as if you cannot ever make progress.
Mm.
That's a different problem. That's the aging problem. But the more the higher the throughput, then also the lower the cycle time. Now
Right.
you have this virtuous feedback loop that it says, as long as we collaborate, we can solve our problems, we can deliver really great product, we can do what we need to do. But when people work alone, that's that's very challenging.
Yeah. You've also talked about pairs and triads, right? So how do pairs and triads contribute to collaboration in project management teams?
So when I think about uh, back in, oh, I don't know, 1984 or something, I pair programmed with, that was my first experience pairing. And I had to be dragged into it, kicking and screaming. I was not excited about pairing at all. And then when I realized our output, our throughput, what we developed was better than what either of us could have done alone. That's when I said, I need to figure out how to do this better, but I really like this way of working. And
Mm.
then I started to write more. And I've now written something like 20 books.
Wow.
But when I wrote Behind Closed Doors with Esther Derby, we pair wrote it. Well, we tried to write it alone twice, and
Mhm.
Jerry Weinberg, our writing mentor, said, it's boring.
Mhm.
And that's when Esther and I said, well, Esther had the idea. She
Mhm.
said, let's pair and let's tell a story. And
Mhm.
that was a totally transformative way to work.
Mhm.
So, um, pairing in software is really great. Pairing in book writing is really great.
Mhm.
Now, what about this triad thing you're probably asking me?
Yeah.
So, when two developers and a tester work together, right,
Mhm.
that triad, then the tester is not waiting, and
Mm.
the developers are not waiting for that final feedback. So the way I often do this is everybody gets together and discusses, what is the story, what is this feature, what is this thing we want to do, and they don't discuss it forever. They discuss it for 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and then the tester goes off and develops system tests, and
Mhm.
the two programmers develop their hopefully their tests, their unit tests in the
Mhm.
code. And
Mhm.
if they collaborate together, then every so often the tester's going to say, "Did you guys think of this thing?" And the developers are going to say, "Oh, we realized we have this issue over here. You need to change your tests." And when everybody works together in a collaborative fashion,
Mhm.
that allows very, very fast feedback cycles.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, love that actually. But then you up the ante a bit and you introduced swarming and mobbing. What is swarming and how does it contribute to faster value delivery?
So, swarming is when everybody on the team works on one item at a time.
Hmm.
It's that one item
Okay.
that matters, that keeps the whip
Hmm.
low, right? One thing at a time. Now, when swarming, people don't necessarily collaborate next to each other, but everybody might go off and do their own thing,
Hmm.
um, and come back every hour or so, maybe 90 minutes, for a very quick check in. Is
Hmm.
anybody stuck? Does anybody have questions? Not what did you do? Where are you going? None of that. It's all about being able to make progress.
Hmm.
And then once people have finished their work, right?
Hmm.
They're in quotes, then people can say, I am now available.
Oh.
That allows for immediate code review, immediate test review, immediate demos,
Hmm.
immediate anything.
Hmm.
The whole point of swarming is you keep the feedback loops really, really short,
Hmm.
because all of product development is about the speed of learning. So if people can learn faster because they have short feedback loops, now everything is much, much faster.
Hmm. I'm imagining a something that a lot of people in the software industry as such call a war room, where you have one meeting room and there are six people sitting there. Is this similar to that? And if it is, what would you have to say about this whole work from home and hybrid culture that we have going?
So we are talking by Zoom right now.
Yeah.
Right? Um, I wrote this book with Mark Kilby called From Chaos to Successful Distributed Agile Teams.
Hmm.
And we would highly recommend that you have a virtual war
Hmm.
room,
Hmm.
and where everybody is on the call at the same time. Now, one of the real problems with distributed teams is a problem you and I had when we wanted to schedule this.
Right.
I'm in Boston on the East Coast in Eastern time,
Hmm.
and you're in
India.
India?
Yes,
Yeah.
Bangalore.
Not nearly, um, not very friendly time
Mhm.
zones.
Right.
And what Mark and I realized is if you have fewer than 4 hours of overlap during the day, right?
Hmm.
So we don't really have much overlap.
Hmm.
You're, what time is it for you right now?
7:42 p.m.
Okay. Okay. So hopefully you've had your dinner. And for me, it's 9:12.
Yeah.
So we are AM. So
Mhm.
we are off by what, 10 and a half hours?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm.
And that means we would have this time to collaborate, but not for very long,
Right.
because you need your evening,
Hmm.
right? And I need, and if we were on a project, we would not be able to swarm very easily.
Hmm.
So we, as humans, we do not have 4 hours of overlap.
Right.
We
Right.
can make a little time.
Hmm.
And that makes any kind of distributed agility very, very hard for us.
Hmm.
That's where we need a handoff.
Got it. Got it.
But if people are within those 4 hours of overlap,
Hmm.
they can make this work.
Hmm. So we are essentially saying that even if teams are distributed, there should at least be 4 hours of overlap for this concept to essentially work. Awesome. Now, there was something called mobbing. Is it similar to swarming? Is it different? Where do
Oh,
we go
it's
there?
different and it's really fun and I found it very challenging
Mhm,
again the first time I did it. So imagine everybody in hopefully the same room,
mhm,
right? Because it's easier to think about mobbing when everybody is in the same room.
right.
One person sits at the keyboard
Mhm,
for 5 minutes,
okay.
maybe 8 minutes,
Mhm,
right? They are the ones who are actually driving the product development because only their hands are on the keyboard.
mhm,
Then there's the person who takes in all the information from everybody else on the team.
mhm,
That's the navigator. And the driver only listens to the navigator. So if I'm one of the mob, right, one of the people who are looking at what this person is typing, oh, you need a big monitor so
mhm,
everybody can see, right? But there's only one person at a keyboard.
mhm,
And I say, um, Joe has done the wrong thing. The navigator can say to me,
mhm,
talk to me, Johanna,
mhm,
not to Joe,
mhm.
right? So that's how that works. So every 5, maybe 8 minutes, people rotate through all the
Okay.
positions,
Mm,
right? So it's not just one navigator and one driver.
mm,
It's only one driver for 5 minutes, and then and that everybody rotates, so
mhm,
everybody has a chance to to contribute in a way. Now, I have, as a consultant, I have done this with my clients when I introduce them to mobbing. I
mhm,
first explain how it's all going to go, and then I ask them, "Do you want me as part of the people who rotate?"
mhm,
Because I have not written code in and
mhm,
not commercially for a very long time, 30
mhm,
years.
mhm,
So I am not capable of contributing in the same way. And so there's always a wise guy, right?
mhm,
Somebody who says, yes, we want you here. And so I wait for them to tell me what to do. And they say, open this file. I do that. They say, do a pull request. I have to say, what's a pull request, right? We do all of these things. And then they say, and then the next time I come through, I
mhm.
already know how to do this. So my speed of learning has increased
Yeah, dramatically.
dramatically,
Mm,
right? And that's why mobbing works, regardless of the talents or skills or capabilities of the people in the room. As long as somebody is willing to start, then the mob can work.
yeah. I also see a tremendous potential of cross training here with both these concepts, mobbing and swarming. Um, I was going to ask about limiting the work in progress to one item and how it can be crucial. But I mean, you just gave the examples of how this work, and I can totally understand why it is important to limit the WIP to just one item so that the entire team can focus in. So I'll move on and I'll talk about my next question. And that is about, let's say, any example that you can share where collaboration actually significantly contributed to project success? Why I am going to ask this question is because uh, a lot of times for someone who has never used swarming or mobbing might tend to feel that, is this effective use of everyone's time? Because while we could be working on four different WIP items, we are now all working on just one item. So how is this going to, this collaboration is going to contribute to project success, and maybe not lead to people thinking that this is not a very efficient use of our time?
So here's where there's a huge difference between resource efficiency thinking,
Hmm.
where we optimize for a given person,
Hmm.
and flow efficiency thinking, where we optimize for the flow of the work.
Yeah.
Now, there's a huge, huge problem in organizations. We use cost accounting, which is focused on resource efficiency.
Hmm.
Right? In cost accounting, we want to understand the cost of everything, every single item, every hour of every person's workday.
Right.
However, that does not talk about the value of anything at all,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
I see that.
So if we want value, we have to finish work and release it.
Love that. Yeah.
That's the whole point of agility.
Hmm.
So if we watch the person as we do in resource efficiency thinking, as opposed to watching the work in flow efficiency thinking,
Hmm.
now we will increase our WIP, but the problem with increasing WIP is the cycle time takes a lot longer.
Hmm.
Right? If we have one person, let's assume we have, God, I've been in these teams, 4 developers and 1 tester.
Hmm.
All 4 developers start to work on their own items, and
I
all
see
of
where you're
them
going.
finish,
Yeah.
right? They start on Monday, they finish on Friday morning.
Hmm.
And the poor tester is supposed to test all 4 items.
Hmm.
So she starts with the first item and she has feedback for the developer. Now, the developer has gone on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So, what does that developer do?
Hmm.
Right? Does she now take the feedback from the tester or does she finish this next piece,
Yeah.
right? This next item.
Hmm.
So, the problem with everybody working on their own stuff is the WIP increases dramatically and the throughput goes down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What people get for their time and money. When I manage projects, I didn't have the words for this. I talked about not multitasking, right?
Hmm.
Multitasking is a form of increasing WIP. So I always said to people, we will not multitask on this project. If you get feedback that says your part is not done, you put down the new thing and you go back to the old thing. You always finish what you start. That's that's the essence of flow
Hmm.
efficiency thinking.
Love that.
Now, if you broaden that to the entire team, now you can actually release a product when you want to.
Hmm. Yeah, love that answer. And I really, really like the way that you explain it in practical terms. This is not like theoretical concept. This is totally practical, and you just proved how it is much more efficient to have people work together and focus in on, one whip item. Uh, Anything else that you would like to add that teams can achieve by prioritizing collaboration that we might have not touched upon?
So I don't think I've really talked about this. I mentioned the
Hmm.
speed of learning, but
Hmm.
let me focus on that a little bit more.
Hmm.
When teams optimize for their learning, right? What is this product really? How does it work? Do we have anything like the right architecture? What tests or experiments would we have to learn from to understand what we're really doing?
Hmm.
The more teams optimize for learning faster, the faster the product development will be.
Hmm.
And that's an outcome of collaboration.
Yeah, yeah, totally get it. I love talking to you, Johanna, so much. I would have gone for hours because the nuggets that you're throwing is amazing because you're not just talking about theory, you're giving practical examples, and I totally love that. If somebody wants to contact you, although we are out of time, so all good things must come to an end. But if somebody wants to contact you, how can they do so?
So everything I ask people to start with jrothman.com. That's my
Mhm,
website,
mhm,
JROTHMAN.com. I am on LinkedIn. I'm on projectmanagement.com. I'm everywhere.
mhm. Awesome. And all important, helpful links for you to contact Johanna will be linked in the description of this video as well. Thank you so much for taking the time out today. I really, really appreciate it, Johanna. I'm pretty sure a lot of our community members are going to find this podcast very, very helpful.
Well, thank you so much for asking me. I am delighted to be here.